Addiction is something that plagues almost everyone. We are creatures of habit and love to form routines, but we tend to take things overboard. Yet many people don't even know that they have addictions. A fair chunk of you watching probably think that you're in that camp. I'm not addicted, he thinks, as he goes to crack open his fourth monster at 11:30 AM. Now, I'm not here to judge you, but you, my man, without a doubt, have a problem. Addiction comes in many forms. Gaming, scrolling on social media apps, snacking, refreshing your YouTube page in the hopes you have one extra subscriber, stuff like that. The first step to tackling addiction is recognizing you have one. But how do you know that? Simple. Curious whether you're addicted to a particular activity? Try to stop doing it. If you can't, you've got an addiction. Yet even when faced with the realization that they have an addiction, many people choose to do nothing about it. Instead, basking in their vice, consequences be damned. Others might not even see any consequences. As an example, if you go out and drink all of the time, you might think you're doing no harm, just drinking a bit to help fuel light conversation. But you're not seeing the full picture, as your outlook is narrow. Yet in reality, you're actually a bloody legend, and the life of the party. But even a legend should know when enough is enough. The key is moderation. I've got a few addictions like most people, and one of my worst is scrolling reels on Instagram. After I find myself scrolling mindlessly for far too long, I stop and berate myself, ask why I do it, and reflect on how much time I'm wasting, before going back to doing it anyway. And that's the goddamn problem. Addictions are tough to break due to the dopamine spike you receive. Dopamine is a feel-good hormone that is released when we do rewarding activities. The trouble is, dopamine can't remain high forever, and the higher it goes, the more it inevitably falls. Low dopamine makes us experience unpleasant things such as a lack of focus, poor motivation, tiredness, anxiety, and the crushing thought that there will never be another season of Attack on Titan. And nobody wants to dwell on that. To avoid these low moments, you need to avoid overloading yourself with dopamine. Yet with quick fixes everywhere, such as sugary snacks and your phone which is within reach, you're putting your willpower under immense strain. It might hold firm initially, but just like how a vegan tries to resist the urge to tell someone they just met that they are vegan, eventually they will cave, and so will you. The trick is to take steps to help lessen the burden on your willpower. Have a sugar addiction? Don't buy as many sugary sweets. You can't go into the kitchen and grab something that isn't there. Of course, don't go completely cold turkey. That's not sustainable either. The goal is to gradually reduce your addiction. So if you're addicted to sugary snacks and eat them every night, cut down to 6 days a week on your first week, then 5, then 4, and so on. You could also choose to go on a dopamine fast. It doesn't have to be for too long, perhaps a day or so. The idea isn't to strip everything enjoyable out of your life, rather to avoid overexposure to stimuli that trigger a strong dopamine response. Like, say, hitting a flip reset. I wouldn't know what that feels like though. I'm a hard-stuck plat. If you successfully strip back your exposure to such activities, you'll soon start to find more joy in the little things. Like the bliss of going to wipe after taking a dump and the tissue comes back as clean as a monk's browser history. Thank you, Jesus! Another good method of combating unhealthy addictions is to replace them with healthy ones. Such activities can make you feel good without the crushing guilt. They often don't give quick dopamine spikes, but rather a lower, more sustained release of dopamine. As an example, having a reading addiction is far better than, say, a marijuana addiction. That is provided you don't mind getting called a nerd who needs to go touch grass. But even traditionally healthy addictions can become bad if taken to the extreme. If you work out too much and become an absolute unit, you might not be able to fit through doorways. And if you read too much, you're in danger of becoming a supervillain with a weird head. As I said before, moderation is key. If you overly indulge in your addictions, you'll soon find you derive less joy from them. And what's the point of partaking in destructive behaviour if you're not at least going to enjoy it? I don't go around running people over on GTA for no reason. The silver lining here is that when you find your enjoyment in your addiction slipping below normal levels, it's easier to make a change. Adopt healthier habits, dopamine fast if you need to, and if you're useless and don't have a shred of willpower, just get a friend to lock you in a basement for a few days.